It's the 1960s and the United States are in a deep, dense Vietnamese jungle. Lieutenant Colonel Earl Dennison Woods is about to embark on his second tour of South Vietnam, and this time around, he will be stationed in Thailand. At home, he leaves behind his 3 children, Earl Jr., Kevin Dale, Royce Renee, and his newly divorced wife, Barbara Gary. The pair officially divorced in 1968. However, Earl had duties and the war wasn't going to wait. With his guard down and the mission to serve his main priority, love was the last thing Earl was looking for. That may have been the plan, but when the glint in the eye of a local secretary caught his attention, Destiny had other plans. Her name, Kultida Punsawad. She was half Thai, a quarter Dutch, and a quarter Chinese. The pair fell head over heels for each other, and the romantic novel began to write itself. They arrived in the Big Apple after his tour and were married by 1969. As the story began to unfold, they then packed up their things to start a new life in Cypress, California. Kultida didn't have kids herself, but now she'd found the love of her life. A mother's instinct to reproduce was now at the forefront of her thoughts. With a bloodline rich in diversity, their child, whoever they may be, would inherit powers that would be channeled into anything they wanted to accomplish. December 30th, 1975. Another baby is born, and for now, nobody knows his name. However, Kultida and Earl welcome their precious little boy, Eldrick Tont Woods. The name Eldrick is put together by Kultida, who liked the name as it began and ended with the letters of both their names. Meanwhile, his middle name Tont signifies a traditional name in Thai culture, meaning beginning in English. As meaningful and put together the name was, it wouldn't be the name that would stick. While serving in Vietnam, Earl became very close to a Vietnamese colonel named Vuong Dong Phong. The pair spent a lot of time together, and in that time Earl was extremely impressed by the colonel's courage. Impressed, Earl dubbed him Tiger, in recognition of his qualities. So early on and in honor of his comrade, Earl began calling his boy Tiger. With a powerful name like Tiger, and middle name Tont, this truly was the beginning of a remarkable story. So whilst Tiger was about to be introduced to the game of golf pretty much as soon as he was born, this wasn't the case for Earl. 3 years before the birth of his son, Earl was stationed at Brooklands Fort Hamilton. It was here at the age of 42 he began playing golf at Dyker Beach Golf Course in Dyker Heights. Even though Earl was a late bloomer, the game came naturally to him. His background in baseball, where he was one of the earliest African American players at Kansas State University, saw his transition into golf a lot easier. By the time Tiger came around, Earl was playing to a very good standard of golf, often shooting in the 70s, and was playing close to scratch. From this point onward, the seed took root in Earl's heart, solidifying the vision he had in place for his son. The introduction began in the damp layer that would become Earl's man cave, something as simple as a net and hitting mat with just enough room to swing a club. It would take just one strike into the net from his father, and Tiger was captivated. He'd watch his dad hit balls for hours, completely immersed into the whole activity. After seeing it once, Tiger never wanted to leave, so much so that he even wanted to be fed down there. As soon as his mum tried to take him out, Tiger would throw a huge tantrum. Between shots, Tiger would eat before quickly swiveling his head around, making sure he didn't miss a shot. Earl's plans this far had worked perfectly, and Tiger's curious mind was now seeing him want to get down from his chair and have a go at what he'd been watching for all this time. Earl didn't fight it, and without hesitation, Tiger climbed down and proceeded to swing a club. Straight away, Earl noticed something. Whilst Tiger was watching his dad in his chair, he was watching it as a mirrored image and thought his dad was swinging the club the other way. Tiger Woods' first ever swing was left-handed. It took weeks for him to realise that his dad was swinging it the other way. When he realised, Tiger switched, and it was at this moment Earl knew he had something special. When Tiger turned the other way around, he also changed his grip from left hand at the bottom to left hand at the top. The late nights in the garage soon changed to late nights at the driving range, and already Tiger's talent was about to be introduced to the world. Baby Tiger was making noise at his local driving range, and the local press had picked up on it. Mike Douglas saw the news segment and decided to invite little Eldrick onto his show, on the same day as Bob Hope and Jimmy Stewart. At first, Tiger was nervous, but soon as they put a club in his hands, that smile and warm feeling of home came back to him. The crowd went wild and the two guests couldn't believe their eyes. In disbelief, Bob Hope stepped up to challenge young Tiger to a putting contest. He began showing up to the crowd, being the comedian he was. However, Tiger had the last laugh. He picked the ball up after missing several times, placed it next to the hole, and won the crowd over as the room filled with laughter. With an early introduction into fame, it was back to the shadows for Earl and his little boy, as now it was time to make this boy wonder a star. His journey did take a slight detour when Tiger wanted to follow in his father's footsteps of being a baseballer. He played Little League, but shortly into his journey tore his rotator cuff, and that's when his mother stepped in. She said to Tiger, "If you want to be good at different sports, that's fine, but if you want to be great, you need to choose one." So an early stern word from his mother flipped Tiger's mindset. He was 100% golf. His father's playing privileges at the Navy golf course beside the Joint Forces training base meant that Tiger had unlimited practice. Between there and the par 3 course in Long Beach, Tiger had all the time in the world to practice, as he hadn't even started school yet. It was here, a few hundred yards from Tiger's boyhood home, which he, his father, and some of his father's friends would meet up every Saturday morning for their weekly game. Here the boy genius developed his skills, despite the efforts of people who were determined to make his early golfing life as miserable as possible. It was only a small group, but they were in a position of power at the club. They had the choice to make life easy for Tiger or make life difficult. Part of the problem was some of the members didn't want a young kid running around the place, as the minimum age really was 10 and over. But it was also because of the colour of his skin. There weren't that many black families in Cyprus at the time, and the 70s were a different time. It would have been easy to quit here. There were so many hurdles in front of them, but Earl was going to fight for his son's dream. The way they got around it was Earl would drop Tiger off at the entrance. Earl would then play the first few holes, while Tiger would crawl and hop through bushes, trying not to get seen. They would then meet up at the side of the fairway. Tiger would pop his head up, scurry into the golf cart, and play the remainder of the round with his dad till dusk. The relationship between coach and student blossomed together as easy as father and son. Tiger had fallen in love, and Earl was just pushing him in the right directions. That direction was north. Shortly before turning 3, Tiger shot 48 over 9 holes at the Navy golf course, a staggering feat and one that would force Earl into stage 2 of his plan. At only 3 years of age, young Eldrick entered his first competition. It was a pitch, drive and putt tournament in which he came second, a podium finish in his first ever start and a trophy bigger than he was. That was the journey for a long while. If he wasn't hitting balls in the garage, he was on the course with his dad, making him competition ready for the weekend. On the course, the rule was, lose your ball, we go home. This was so Earl could actually get back home at a normal time for once. In the dark, Tiger was pretty much playing golf blindfolded. Not knowing where the ball went with his eyes, he relied completely on feel. Much to Earl's disappointment, Tiger got pretty good at this game, and his plan backfired. But who knows, this might have been one of Earl's creative training regimes all along. Young Eldrick ended up playing 16 holes one night, calling every shot and finding it. The endless hours of practice was Tiger's happy place. People can say what they want about Earl, and they have, but Tiger wanted to be there. This was his dream. His dream was to be competitive, and right now at age 6, 9-hole pitch and putt comps were all he had. In 1981 at the Navy course, Tiger won the Under-10 tournament, showcasing he was light years better than anyone in his age group. At age 6 he was beating 10-year-olds, but by age 8 he was breaking 80 for the first time. The leaps he was taking was way stronger than hard work. This was a gift, and Earl knew that. The practice intensified and the smell of blood was strong. Tiger was on the hunt, and he was going to take down any prey in his way. Next in his sights was the Junior Worlds. Tiger won the 9-10 boys event, the youngest age group at the Junior World Championships, a competition he would go on to win 6 times. The boy superstar was making headlines again. His second TV appearance brought a new persona from the first interview. Tiger was becoming something, and this media training was all adding to the final finished article. Tiger spent a lot of time with his father. Half the time they didn't even speak. Both just practiced together, working on each other's games. They were more like best mates. Tiger enjoyed his time with his dad. He kept it competitive but fun, Other documentaries have been so disrespectful and harsh on his dad, but just look how happy he made Tiger. Tiger said out of anyone, it was his mum who he was scared of. Now, although Earl takes a lot of credit for Tiger's success, and rightly so, nobody talks about Rudy Durand. Teeda, Tiger's mum, took young Eldrick to Hartwell Golf Park in Long Beach, California. Teeda wanted to know if Tiger could be part of his junior program, and would he coach him. Tiger was 4 years old at the time, and could barely see over the pro shop counter. They headed to the driving range where he could see Tiger hit some balls. He took out his cut down 2.5 wood and proceeded to hit 4 perfect drives about 60 yards with a little baby draw. What happened next was pretty obvious, and Rudy and Tiger's relationship blossomed into something special, lasting till he was 11 years old. Tiger learnt lots of things from Rudy, but in the end, he just outgrew him. Essentially, Tiger got too good. By this age, Tiger had beaten his dad for the first time, and from then on, Earl never beat him again after that. At this point, Tiger wasn't only developing as a player, but as a young man too. He was now allowed to go to the course by himself. His mum would give him 75 cents and send him on his way for the entirety of the day. That 75 cents would get him a hot dog for lunch, money for the payphone, and a little extra in case the payphone swallowed it. The plan was working beautifully. Tiger was in his element, and Earl and Teeda now had a lot of free time to do whatever they pleased. It started out hassle-free, to start with anyway. That was until Tiger kept coming home with huge pockets full of money. Tiger was using the money given to him by his parents to hustle with on the practice putting green. He was challenging all the older members with plenty of money to chipping and putting competitions, taking their hard-earned cash. Tiger could now afford 2 hot dogs and whatever goodies the halfway house had to offer. Unfortunately for Tiger, Earl put this to a stop. He said you can't go around making a name for yourself like that, even with a firm word put in place. I'm sure Earl was extremely proud deep down. See, it was just a pastime for Tiger. After all, winning all these competitions wasn't paying for his hot dogs. The wins became that regular that when he had accumulated 113 trophies, his mother made him donate them all to charity. That year he won 36 trophies, and there was simply no more room in the Woods household. Teeda had no choice. But now with nothing to remember his wins by, all that did is make Tiger want to win more. This fire inside of him just wasn't blowing out, and after playing golf now for 10 years, this was just routine for Tiger. By age 12, he was fully developing as a golfer. His swing was grooved and his scores were proving that. He broke 70 for the first time on a regulation golf course, and from this point on, Tiger Woods leveled up. Throughout Tiger's childhood, Earl's methods of teaching was always debatable. However, to build a superhuman golfer, you need a superhuman mind. And to get a superhuman mind requires testing your subject to the absolute limit. But that was it. Earl pushed Tiger right to the point of breaking, but never over. Earl would throw golf balls on Tiger's backswing. Tiger would get so annoyed, but as Earl repeated the process over and over again, eventually it just didn't bother him. Tiger's parents knew that they had a gem on their hands. It was obvious, and everyone around could see it. However, if there was ever a slight doubt in any of their minds, Tiger would end all doubt when entering the 1989 Big I, which was his first major national junior tournament. In the final round, Tiger was paired with John Daly, who at the time was unknown. The event placed a pro with an amateur, but Tiger wasn't playing like a rookie. He was already showing he could compete with the pros, as John only beat him by 1 shot. At this point in the story, Earl really knew what he had on his hands. I mean, he'd had an inkling, but now he was about to take one of the biggest risks of his life, but one that would essentially kickstart Tiger's career. Earl decided to take out a second mortgage on their family home. The capital was used to put Tiger through junior golf, and from here the domination started, and Tiger never let his father down. With the baton making itself around the track, it was about to be passed down and Earl's master plan was about to be unveiled. The GOAT first met his predecessor when performing a clinic at the Bel Air Country Club. Tiger was involved that day, and it wasn't just the members who were blown away. Jack saw something in Tiger that day. A glint in the eye, or the way he held himself. He could feel the energy. From the sidelines was Earl, cultivating a plan, assessing Jack's records and plotting a strategy. He researched every accomplishment of Jack and was now setting goals for Tiger to beat them. Meanwhile, Tiger was in high school, And with the hard work his father and himself were putting in prepping for college, it was his mother on the sidelines taking credit because of the colour of his shirt he was wearing. The famous colour of Sunday red was the idea of his mother. She wanted Tiger to stand out and show fear, as well as bring a little luck to his side. She told Tiger to wear red as the colour red is a power colour for Capricorns. Reds might inspire you to become overly aggressive, especially when it comes to succeeding at work or competing against someone else. Tiger wasn't overly convinced, so for a few competitions he wore blue, and as you might have guessed, he didn't win. So red stuck. Whilst a student at Weston High School in Anaheim, the power of the zodiacs were aligning his path. Tiger became the youngest US junior amateur champion of all time. Despite a bogey on the first playoff hole, 15-year-old Tiger became the youngest winner in the 44-year history of the USGA Junior Amateur Championship. He trailed 16-year-old Brad Zwetzka by 2 holes after 7 in the match play format on Sunday at the Bay Hill Club in Orlando, Florida. Woods won the next 5 holes before faltering at the end, losing a 1-hole lead at the 18th. The hunger in Tiger was like nobody had ever seen, especially at this age where kids were going out partying. Tiger was focused, and his focus was building up that trophy cabinet once again. He was named the Southern California Amateur Player of the Year for the 2nd year running, and was named Golf Digest Amateur of the Year. This was just a drop in the ocean of success for what Tiger was about to achieve, and everybody knew it. He defended his US Junior Amateur, becoming the first person ever to do so, and then competed in his first ever PGA Tour event at the shy age of 16. It was the Nissan Los Angeles Open, where Tiger would miss the cut, but Tiger was already pulling in crowds. That missed cut might have hurt a little bit, or it might have just humbled him. Tiger had a taste of the top and quickly realised he was out of his depth. However, now he knew he needed to work harder. He knew the level and he had time to reach it. The next few years were another success. He won his 3rd consecutive US Junior Amateur, becoming the only person ever to win it 3 times. He graduated from high school and was named most likely to succeed by his classmates. Success came quick when he became the youngest US amateur of all time. He beat Trip Kuhn 2-up at the TPC Sawgrass, completing 1 out of the 3. Imagine being around Tiger at that time, knowing you were staring at greatness. But right now, he was just collecting his scroll and maybe treating himself to a party. For Tiger, the partying would have been cut short. And whilst he would practice, his father was in the background, talking to college powers who were heavily trying to recruit him. It would be Stanford University, the 1994 NCAA champions, that would get the most sought-after signature, and within months, Tiger had already paid his dues, winning his first event. Tiger, or Urkel as his classmates called him, defended his US amateur at Newport County Club in Rhode Island, number 2 of 3, and was voted Pac-10 Player of the Year, along with NCAA First Team All-American and Stanford's Male Freshman of the Year, an award that encompasses all sports. Tiger seemed ready. He was maturing as a man and maturing as a golfer. The time seemed right, and it was time to test his ability for a second time. It was the 1995 Masters, the year Tiger would play Augusta, and the year Tiger would fall in love for the first time. The eventual winner would be Ben Crenshaw, who bagged his 2nd Masters, while Tiger finished 41st, making the cut and finishing low amateur. Crenshaw would be a crucial part of Tiger's progression, as the putting wizard gave young Woods advice that would evidently see Tiger win the Masters 2 years later. By age 20, the time had come for Tiger to make a decision. It was pretty much frowned upon for people to drop out of college, but Tiger was just wasting time at this point. He won his 3rd consecutive US amateur, won the NCAA Individual Championship, and was now set to make his Open Championship debut. The Open may not have been Tiger's first love, but it would be the one he would marry. In his first appearance, he won the silver medal and tied the record amateur aggregate score of 281. Royal Lytham opened Tiger's eyes to a new way of golf, something nobody had ever taught him before, something he would figure out by himself. When Tiger arrived back in the States, his mind was made up. He left college after 2 years, moved out of California, and began his journey on the pro circuit. That defined Tiger's upbringing. From witnessing his mother's endless sacrifices to his father's work ethic, of all the many lessons ingrained into him by his dad, one stuck out. If you don't go out there and put in the work, you don't go out there and put in the effort. 1, you're not going to get results, but 2, and more importantly, you don't deserve it. You need to earn it. And just like that, Tiger's career had started.
I guess hello world, huh?